In this pitch to Fanworks, we discuss Ponies the Next Generation. The idea of this is that the main six have all grown up, gotten married, and had kids, as well as the CMC have gotten their cutie marks, which I cleverly never show in any of the art frames. Some of the more notable characters in this story include the child of Shining Armor and Cadence, which brings Twilight Sparkle on as the babysitter and allows them to do the sunshine, sunshine, ladybugs wait, clap your hooves and do a little shake routine, which they will do together for their first time, with the child having no idea what Twilight is doing and being confused by the rhyme and movements, but slowly getting into the groove. Other ideas I have for the Next Generation story include Trixie having a child. Trixie has become humbled by the experience of becoming a mother and has assigned her child to be the student of Princess Twilight to learn about the magic of friendship. Also in my stories, I created this idea before actually getting into My Little Pony beyond a handful of episodes, and therefore I assumed that allotornism was a form of puberty, not a form of magic bestowed upon them by Celestia. I hadn't watched Magical Mystery Tour yet. I was just slapping horns and rings on many of the characters, including Trixie and Fluttershy. Next character idea is for Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. These ideas are interchangeable and can happen to either of the two girls. The concept was created after watching Flight to the Finish, which was my very first time seeing Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon on the television. I hadn't seen the characters prior to this episode and didn't know exactly what they were all about, except they had an extreme hatred of blank flanks. The concept of this story is that one pony reforms and the other becomes progressively meaner. What I did at the time was I chose to give the reform to Diamond Tiara and the mean streak to Silver Spoon. Although, looking back on the series after having seen every episode now, I feel like those roles should be reversed. Anyhow, the mean one has a young foal who, after many years, is still blank flanked, and because of the blank flankness of the child, the foal is kicked out of the family, kicked out of the house, and left out into the rain, wherein the foal is promptly adopted by Scootaloo, who is unable to have children because of her disability, and Sweetie Belle and Apple Bloom, who are themselves mothers now. The child of Scootaloo, along with the child of Trixie and the child of Fluttershy, form the new CMC and go on quests to find their cutie marks. As for the other half of the duo, Diamond Tiara or Silver Spoon, whichever one you want to put into this part of the story, has reformed and learned the importance of tolerance, and has actually discovered that through the power of love winning over everything else, has fallen in love with one of the least glamorous ponies in all of Equestria, a pony by the name of Dirt Poor. Dirt Poor is a sod farmer who farms sod and manure, or fertilizer, making him quite literally one of the least glamorous professions that a pony could have, which is sort of the point, to take the girl who was obsessed with being rich and put her with someone who is so poor, so humble, so dirty and smelly and everything else horrible, and have them find that love makes it possible for her to not care about who he is or what his profession is or all of the shallow things about him, and realize that underneath all that shallowness there is a wonderful pony to fall in love with, and that love is powerful enough to make her give up bullying and teasing. The next idea in the Next Generation sequence is the tolt of the tolt. In other words, what happens if one of the princesses has a tolt, and then a group of ponies forms a tolt along the idea of having that tolt become the leader of the entire world through evil methods and the use of dark magic. In this particular example, we see the tolt of Luna and the tolt of Luna, as the tolt of Luna wants the tolt of Luna to become the next nightmare moon, and thus the tolt shall lead the tolt. And next depictions in the My Little Pony Next Generation shows Pound Cake and Pumpkin Cake as they've grown up and obtained their cutie marks. And it also shows my own OC standing alongside fellow photographer pony Featherweight. The next Ponies the Next Generation idea includes Alatorn Fluttershy, again because I didn't know how Alatorns worked, taking her child, who's a bold, brash, loud, daring daredevil, on a playdate to the beach with Babseed and her child, again taking the time to artistically cover up the cutie mark so you never see it. And then we see my interpretation of the CMC and Babseed's child on a playdate on the beach. And the final concept I had for Ponies the Next Generation, before I became stumped and got a writer's block on the topic, is Pinkie Pie's child. This was miraculously conceived of many, many, many episodes before Mod Pie came into existence. During this entire concept, after seeing Flight to the Finish, in fact. And Pinkie's daughter is basically a Mod Pie personality. Mod Pie's coat color, with a dulled down Pinkie Pie hair color. Pinkie Pie's child has Mod Pie's personality and Twilight Sparkle's love for reading books and learning history. She has absolutely no interest in parties, games, fun, laughter, or any of the silliness that her mother embarrasses her with on a daily basis. I find it fascinating that I would even come up with this idea, having not seen Mod Pie yet. Anyhow, if you'd like to animate, write, draw, voice, or anything else this idea, post in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and good night.